Alright, so there's a lot of controversial things about this man, but this isn't. We all know when you hear the name Barry Bonds, you think of steroids and 762 home runs. But did you know that before Barry Bonds took steroids, he was already on the path to be a Hall of Famer? Barry Bonds played in 13 seasons before he took PEDs during the 1999 season. At this time, Barry Bonds already had 3 MVPs, which was tied for the most in MLB history. Being an all-around 5-tool baseball player, he really didn't need to take steroids to be considered with the greats of this game. So let's take a look into Barry Bonds' first 13 seasons to prove he was already a Hall of Fame player. Hi, I'm Blue and this is the 7th inning stretch. Thank you guys so much for the support in my recent videos this past month. I really do appreciate every single one of you guys. If you guys want to see more content like this, subscribe and hit the like button so I know you guys like this. Without further ado, grab a snack, take a seat, and let's get back into this video. Barry Bonds was born to be a baseball player. He was the son of former outfielder Bobby Bonds, the godson of Willie Mays, and the cousin of Reggie Jackson. However, Barry Bonds was not liked by his teammates even very early on in his career. Barry Bonds attended Arizona State University, where he was an absolute beast, receiving the ASU On Deck Circle Most Valuable Player, but according to the former head coach Jim Brock, he was rude, inconsiderate, and self-centered. However, his talent didn't stop him from being drafted 6th overall by the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 1985 draft. Barry Bonds played the rest of the season in Single A, then played 44 short games at AAA before being called up to the show on May 30th, 1986. He went over 5 with 3 strikeouts, but recorded his first hit the next day, a double. Until the All-Star break in 39 games, Barry Bonds had a .238 batting average, a .367 on-base percentage, and a .483 slugging percentage, and 7 home runs and 17 RBIs. In the second half, Barry Bonds added 9 home runs and 30 RBIs to give him the most home runs, RBIs, stolen bases, and walks in the National League for a rookie. Yet, he still finished 6th in the Rookie of the Year voting. In his early years, Barry Bonds was the leadoff hitter, and he also moved from center field to left after the Pirates acquired Andy Van Slyke in 1987. In Barry Bonds' first full season, he hit 25 home runs and stole 32 bases, while also driving in 59 runs, also finishing 4th in defensive WAR. The club attendance went from below 10,000 fans per game in the 1985 season to 54,000 in the home opener of 1987. In Barry Bonds' next 2 seasons, he totaled 43 home runs and 116 RBIs, while also adding 49 stolen bases. He also had a 136 OPS+. Barry Bonds was also known to be quite the playmaker at left field, as he also had the second most outfield assists in the National League in 1989. The Pirates signed Andy Van Slyke to a 3-year, $5.5 million deal, which rubbed Barry Bonds the wrong way. However, by the 1990 season, Barry Bonds and the Pirates developed with players like Bobby Bonilla and vets like Andy Van Slyke and Sid Bream, along with the ace Doug Drabek. Barry Bonds moved down to the lineup to the 5-hole, and he had a very strong first half of the season, posting a .340, .423, and .615 slash line. He also raked 15 home runs while adding 62 RBIs to give him his first All-Star appearance. Barry Bonds found himself in a slump in the second half, with a batting average of .261. However, he did hit 18 home runs and knocked in 52 RBIs to give him 114 on the season. He finished the season with 33 home runs and 52 stolen bases and led the NL in OPS with a .970. He also won a Gold Glove and Silver Slugger award as well. His teammate Bobby Bonilla placed 2nd in MVP, but Barry Bonds had a WAR of 9.7, which led the National League. Back in the 1990s, there was only 6 teams in 2 separate divisions in the National League. The top 2 records of each division played each other in the NLCS to determine who moved on to the World Series. The 1990 Pirates finished the season with a 95-67 record behind Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonilla, along with Cy Young Award winner Doug Drabek. And now they were taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Barry Bonds took his slump into his first postseason. He recorded 6 walks, but he only had 3 singles the whole series. With the whole team falling flat, the Reds advanced and won the World Series. Now, in the offseason, Barry Bonds felt that he deserved more money. However, the Pirates refused to extend his contract. This clearly made Bonds upset. One day in spring training of 2001, Bonds got really mad at a photographer.
Get it out of my face. Get that camera out.
And then got more mad with a team employee when the employee was trying to calm him down and explain that he could photograph whoever he wanted. Barry Bonds took this really well, as you can imagine.
You don't tell who the comes in my face, alright? You don't say it, I say it. I don't know, you don't. I tell them where to go.
After joining some of his teammates and then going into it again with another coach, Jim Leland came to see what the fuss was about. When Barry Bonds told him it was none of his business, Jim Leland may have snapped a little bit.
Now don't with me. I'm not with nobody. Don't with me, no. I've had enough of this. I'm in it because I'm the manager of this team. That's why I'm in it. You don't want to be here. Get your. I'll do it. I've been doing it. I don't give.
Barry Bonds still did Barry Bonds things that season. He finished the season with 25 home runs and knocked in 116 runs as well. He again won another Gold Glove and Silver Slugger award. He also had the highest on-base percentage and WAR for positional players in the National League, with a 160 OPS plus as well. But somehow, he came in second in the National League MVP, losing to Terry Pendleton. The Pirates won 98 games that season, and this time they were taking on the Atlanta Braves. They took a 3-2 series lead, but the last two games the Pirates' bats were super quiet to send the Braves to the World Series. Barry Bonds again slumped in the series, only getting 4 hits and again being held without a postseason home run. Coming into the 1992 season, the Pirates were beginning to sell away. Barry Bonds was almost next, when he was almost traded to the Braves, but then manager Jim Leland came in and closed that down immediately. Even though the team wasn't as talented on paper, Barry Bonds had another monster season to help the Pirates again win the division. Barry Bonds had 34 home runs and 103 RBIs, along with 39 stolen bases. He also led the league in walks, and again for the second year in a row on base percentage. If those numbers don't impress you, what about his 204 OPS plus and another season with a 9 WAR? On top of that, Barry Bonds also won another Gold Glove and Silver Slugger award. Again, the Pirates were taking on the team that almost acquired him before the season, the Braves. Remember, at this time, Barry Bonds was established as one of the best hitters in baseball, but in the postseason, the storyline was that Barry Bonds was not coming through in the playoffs. It started off pretty much the same, as the Pirates were down 3-1, and Bonds only had 1 hit through 11 at-bats. After Jim Leland gave him advice, basically just to hang loose and have fun, that either way a big contract was in his near future, Barry Bonds started to produce. He had 2 hits in Game 5 with an RBI. He also made a game-saving play at the time. Then in Game 6, Barry Bonds added 2 hits, including his first postseason home run off Tom Glavine, also helping the Pirates win 13-4. Then in Game 7, in a do-or-die to go to the World Series, with the Pirates up 2-0 in the 9th inning, the wheels began to fall off. It started with a leadoff double. Then, after a rare error by Gold Glover Jose Lynn, runners were on first and third. Then, a 4-pitch walk by Drayback caused Leland to pull him for the closer. The next batter hit a sacrifice fly. And then, the next batter walked on a really close call. With the bases loaded and 1 out, Brian Hunter popped up. Now, with the game on the line, the Braves brought up to bat Francisco Cabrera, a player with 0 playoff hits. Now, according to Andy Van Slyke, he told Barry Bonds he should move in to get the runner at home. Barry Bonds looked at him and didn't budge. Well, he should have.
Now the 2-1. Line drive and a base hit. Justice has scored the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is safe. Safe at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
Again, the Pirates failed to reach the World Series for the 3rd straight year in a row. Barry Bonds' time with the Pirates was officially over. In his 7 seasons with the Pirates, Barry Bonds hit 176 home runs and drove in 556 runs. He also stole 251 bases and had an OPS plus of 147 in this time. His 427 combined home runs and stolen bases were more than Willie Mays and Ken Griffey in the first 7 seasons. Barry Bonds also accumulated a 50.1 WAR, which was higher than Hank Aaron and Ricky Henderson in their first 7 seasons. Of course, Barry Bonds had a talent, but being known as a hard teammate to be around, who was going to put money into him? The San Francisco Giants were close to moving to Tampa Bay, but under new management, the new owners kept him in San Fran and gave Barry Bonds the highest contract in MLB history to that point, a 6-year, $43.75 million deal. And of course, Barry Bonds started in his new uniform red hot. After hitting .431 and .367 in April and May, he cooled off a little bit before the break. By the All-Star break, he already had 24 home runs and 71 runs batted in, with a crazy .466 on-base percentage. After again appearing in his 4th straight All-Star appearance, Barry Bonds had a great August as well. The Giants were leading their division by 3 games to the Braves in September, when all of a sudden on the final day of the season, the Giants were tied again with the enemy of Barry Bonds, the Atlanta Braves. With the Braves handling their side of business and beating the Rockies, it was all eyes on the Giants to beat the Dodgers to force a game 163. Barry Bonds and the Giants went completely cold and lost 12-1. Before the All-Star game in 2003, Barry Bonds, Bobby Bonilla, and Frank Thomas were interviewed about some of the issues in baseball. When asked if they should extend the playoffs to more teams, this was Barry Bonds' response.
No, you don't like it?
I like it just the way it is.
Really?
Yeah, 2 teams of each division and 2 teams of the other division, and then go head-to-head, and then the next team, you go head-to-head in the World Series. I don't understand it. I don't like it like basketball or something.
I think too many, yeah,
that's too many.
Bobby, how about you?
I just thought this was a little ironic. Despite this loss, Barry Bonds won his 2nd straight MVP and his 3rd overall, as he hit for a .336 batting average and slugged 46 home runs and knocked in 123 runs. And he added another 9.9 WAR season with an OPS plus of 206. Again, Barry Bonds won his 4th straight Gold Glove and Silver Slugger award as well.
Treasure this, for you may never see it again in your lifetime. An incredible season of heroics by one man.
In 1994, the baseball world was in a war with the owners and players. This caused the season to be shortened, and the last game was played on August 11, 1994. There were a bunch of storylines that season, from Tony Gwynn almost hitting 400 to the Expos potentially having the pieces to win the World Series for the first time. But Barry Bonds put together a very good season as well. In the first half, he slugged 23 home runs and stole 18 bases. He hit for only a .280 average, but he walked 58 times to give him an on-base percentage of .405, and of course becoming an all-star. In 26 short games in the second half, Barry Bonds turned the heat back on, hitting 14 bombs and almost getting on base at a .500 clip. He ended the season with 37 home runs and 29 stolen bases, one shy of another 30-30 season. He ended up placing 4th place in MVP, but he won another Gold Glove and Silver Slugger award. I just want to take a look at Barry Bonds' last 5 seasons. From 1990 through 1994, Barry Bonds won 3 MVPs, 5 All-Star selections, 5 Gold Gloves, and 5 Silver Slugger awards. He hit 175 home runs and stole 192 bases, with an OPS plus of 185 at this time. He also accumulated a WAR of 42.9. In 1995, Barry Bonds had a off year for his standards. He hit 33 home runs and had 104 RBIs, but his batting average dropped to 294. But still, his on-base percentage was still the highest in the league with a .431, behind his league-leading 120 walks. He also stole 31 bases, giving him another 30-30 season. And this season, he ended up in 12th place for the MVP voting, which is kind of weird because Barry Bonds still had the highest WAR in positional players for the National League. I don't think necessarily he should have won MVP, but placing 12th is a little too low in my opinion. The 1996 season began with a milestone for Barry Bonds. On April 7, 1996, Barry Bonds hit number 300 and 301, becoming the 4th player in MLB history to join a 300-300 club. The other 3 players to have hit 300 home runs and stole 300 bases are Andre Dawson, Willie Mays, and his own father. He started the season red hot, hitting 11 bombs in the first month. By the All-Star break, Barry Bonds had 23 home runs and 20 stolen bases. He also already knocked in 68 runs to that point. Therefore, Barry Bonds made it to his 6th All-Star appearance, and Barry had just as great as the second half. In 72 games, Barry Bonds had an on-base percentage of .514. Which is just stupid. He also blasted 19 bombs and stole 20 more bases to become the 2nd player in MLB history at that point to hit 40 home runs and steal 40 bases in the same season. He also broke the record for the most walks in the National League with 151. His 9.7 WAR was the best in the National League, despite finishing 5th in MVP. The winner, Ken Caminetti, was a part of a first-place Padres team. Meanwhile, the Giants only won 68 games. Since 1993, the Giants haven't had a winning record. The best player behind him was Matt Williams, and I feel like that also caused Barry Bonds to get less votes, along with his hate relationship with the media, as he was also involved in more situations where he was pushing a reporter or screaming at teammates. In 1997, the Giants traded away Matt Williams and brought in Jeff Kent, a player who had his own issues in New York and wasn't really anything too special, but when he came to the Giants, he became a force right away, and that is exactly what Barry Bonds needed. Of course, they had their issues. They started on the first day of spring training. The van showed up to take the players to the field, and when Jeff Kent got there early and took the front seat, Barry Bonds got there minutes later and told him that it was his seat. Jeff Kent didn't move, and after a stalemate, Bonds moved to the back of the van. Situations like this happen quite often, where Kent would call out Bonds on things most players wouldn't because of fear of Bonds. Barry Bonds obviously didn't like this, and he went back at it all the time with Jeff Kent. However, it didn't stop this duo, as Barry Bonds had a slow April and May, but he still had an on-base percentage of .400, which helped Kent right behind him a lot. Jeff Kent even hit 3 grand slams in these months, all after Bonds was walked, to give him the bases loaded opportunity. Barry Bonds got hot again in the next months, and finished the season with another 40 home run season and was 3 stolen bases shy of another 40-40 season, but he did tie his father for the most 30-30 seasons. He led the league in walks again and finished the season with an 8.2 WAR, which placed him 5th in MVP again. He did win another Gold Glove and Silver Slugger award. However, with the help of Jeff Kent, the Giants are back in the postseason. However, it was a quick shift for the Giants, as they were swept in 3 games by the World Series champs, the Marlins. Barry Bonds wasn't bad in the first 2 games, but he went 0 for 4 in Game 3, as Jeff Kent hit 2 home runs right after. Well, here comes one of the greatest seasons of MLB history, the 1998 season. On May 28, 1998, Barry Bonds did something that hasn't been done since 1944. He was intentionally walked with the bases loaded, and somehow it paid off for the Diamondbacks, as the next hitter hit it directly to the right fielder to end the game. The show that year, of course though, was the race of the home run title between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. Even on August 23rd, when Barry Bonds hit his 400th home run to become the first and still the only player to have hit 400 home runs and steal 400 bases in their career, his accomplishments was still in the shadow of Mark McGwire, as Mark McGwire was the one on all the front pages. Barry Bonds had a .303 average and blasted 37 home runs of his own and drove in 122 runs as well, meanwhile also winning his 8th Gold Glove award. Now again, this is where things get dicey with Barry Bonds in his career. With the baseball world praising Mark McGwire, it's only speculation, but it feels that Barry Bonds was perhaps a little jealous. After all, he has been the best player in the last decade and never got any love, whether it was from his own doing or not. Barry Bonds came into the 1999 season looking a little bigger than before. Why can't we just tell our kids that this is what happens when you eat your vegetables and do 100 push-ups before bed? Anyways, let's take a look at Barry Bonds' numbers before he started to juice up. In 13 seasons, Barry Bonds slugged 411 home runs, which was more than Hall of Famers Larry Walker and Al Kaline in their entire careers. And he also added 445 stolen bases. Barry Bonds also drove in 1,216 runners and had a .411 on-base percentage in this time, with a 164 OPS plus. His resume was already Hall of Fame worthy, as he was a 3-time MVP and had 8 All-Star appearances, 8 Gold Gloves, and 7 Silver Slugger awards. From 93 to 98, Barry Bonds had a 49.6 WAR, giving him a 99.7 WAR in his career to this point. This would have made him the 20th best positional player of all time according to WAR. Barry Bonds was on pace to still hit 500 home runs, maybe even 600, but I feel that the jealousy to be on top might have gotten to him. Okay. And listen, before I end this video, I want to say it's really dumb on MLB's part. They wanted more people to watch the game of baseball, and what's the most exciting part of baseball? Home runs. So I don't want to get into it now, that could be its own separate video in a long haul. But regardless, Barry Bonds, before he took steroids, was one of the most feared hitters of all time. Before steroids, you had to be aware of Barry Bonds at all times. Even if you walked him, he was going to steal second base on you, making him one of the biggest threats in baseball. Barry Bonds sure had his troubles outside of baseball, but this is a baseball video, and baseball players should be judged for their play. So do you guys agree that Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer before he even took steroids? If you guys like this video, please subscribe and hit the like button, as it really helps me out a lot. If you guys are still watching this part of the video, you guys should comment your favorite Barry Bonds moment. Until the next time, I hope you guys have a good one. Blues out. Peace.